The world had never been this quiet before. Even the air inside the underground command room felt heavy, as if it understood something great was about to happen. Rows of screens showed real-time data, numbers rising and falling like a heartbeat. Engineers stood in perfect silence, their hands shaking slightly as they prepared the system for activation. At the center of the room stood Commander Rios, a man known for calm decisions and sharp eyes. He watched the main screen with deep focus. He had spent years preparing for this day, and now, everything came down to one moment: the firing of humanity's first railgun. But this was not just any weapon. This railgun was a symbol of something bigger: human evolution, human courage, and human determination. For decades, Earth had lived under the shadow of powerful alien empires watching from the darkest space. Some aliens studied humans quietly. Some ignored them. Some planned to interfere. But all of them believed the same thing: humans were not ready for the stars. Today would destroy that belief. The massive railgun rested inside a long metallic chamber, sealed with reinforced walls and surrounded by magnet coils that glowed with a faint blue light. The weapon stretched like a steel beast, sleeping, waiting to be awakened. Even those who helped build it felt a strange fear when they looked at it. It was too powerful, too fast, too silent. Rios turned to his assistant, a young technician named Clara. Her fingers shook as she checked final diagnostics. "Status," Rios asked in a calm voice. "Charging at 82%, Clara replied. "All systems stable. Magnetic rails aligned. Energy flow normal." Rios nodded, though inside he felt the same tension everyone else did. This weapon was built to test humanity's limits. If it worked, Earth would enter a new age. If it failed, the consequences could be deadly. Far above Earth's surface, hidden among the stars, several alien probes floated silently. Their lenses watched every movement below. They had been monitoring humanity for years, assuming humans would advance slowly. Today, every alien probe recorded a strange rise in energy coming from Earth. The alien commanders watching from deep space felt a sudden cold wave of confusion. What are the humans doing? This energy level is impossible. No primitive species can reach this stage. And yet, the readings were real. Back in the command room, alarms began to beep softly as the railgun charged past 90%. Lights dimmed slightly. The floor vibrated with a deep hum. The air warmed as if the weapon was pulling energy from every corner of the room. Clara swallowed nervously. "Commander, it's reaching maximum charge." Rios looked up at the long window that overlooked the firing chamber. There was the railgun, shining in its final moments of silence. It looked calm, but everyone knew the truth. A single shot from this weapon could change the story of humanity forever. "Begin final sequence," he ordered. Engineers' hands flew across the consoles. More lights blinked. More screens filled with data. The hum grew louder and deeper, like a storm building inside the metal walls. A narrator-like voice came through the speakers. "Railgun charging. 95%, 96%, 97%. People stare at the main screen, their faces pale but filled with determination. They all knew history was about to be written, either in glory or disaster. Clara whispered, "I can't believe this is finally happening." Rios replied softly, "Humanity deserves a chance to stand tall." Outside the chamber, the world was unaware of the true danger. Reporters waited miles away, cameras ready but blind to what the weapon could really do. Only a few leaders knew that the power inside the railgun could pierce through solid rock, metal, and maybe even to the void of space. Suddenly, the hum reached its peak. The lights inside the chamber glowed bright white, and the floor trembled slightly. The voice spoke again. "Charge complete. Ready to fire." Everyone held their breath. A heavy silence fell over the room, so silent it felt unnatural. Even Rios felt a strange chill run down his spine. This was it. "Begin countdown," he commanded. The screen flashed. 10, 9, 8. The hum grew louder. Sparks flickered along the rails. 7, 6, 5. Rios could see the engineers tense up. Clara pressed her lips together, eyes wide. 4, 3, The entire chamber vibrated. It felt like the building itself was breathing. 2. Electric arcs danced across the coils. 1. Rios whispered under his breath. For humanity, fire. The world exploded into light. The railgun released a blinding flash. So bright it turned the chamber white for a second. A sound like thunder followed, deep and rolling, shaking the ground even from miles away. The projectile shot out faster than any weapon in human history. It moved so fast that sensors barely captured it. It cut through the testing field and vanished into the horizon, leaving a trail of glowing air. Everyone in the room gasped. Clara stared at the readings. Commander, the projectile, it's already out of range. But that was only the beginning. Satellite screens lit up with alerts. The projectile had passed through the upper atmosphere and continued moving. Faster, stronger, unstoppable. It hit an asteroid in deep space within seconds. The asteroid shattered into dust. Rio stared silently, unable to speak. One of the scientists whispered, This is not just a weapon. This is a message. But far away, in the cold darkness of space, alien ships were recording everything. They watched the asteroid break. They watched Earth's impossible weapon. And for the first time in many years, the galaxy felt something it had not felt because of humans before. Fear. Emergency signals began to spread between alien fleets. Humans have created a planetary railgun. This weapon is beyond our predictions. This could change the balance of the galaxy. Back on Earth, the command room was filled with shock and disbelief. No one spoke for several seconds. The lights flickered as the hum faded away. Clara finally whispered, Commander, what have we done? Rio slowly turned toward the main screen where endless data streamed across. We've shown the galaxy that humanity is no longer small, he said softly. But this... He stopped, because the screen suddenly showed something unexpected. Multiple unknown signals were appearing. Not from Earth, not from satellites, but from deep space, moving fast. Clara's face went pale. Commander, those are alien signatures. They're reacting immediately. Rio stared at the screen, heart pounding. It seems, he whispered, that our first shot woke someone up. And that was the moment. The galaxy began to tremble. And in part 2, the story continues from this exact moment. The galaxy began to tremble. Those words repeated in Commander Rios's mind as he stared at the glowing screen in front of him. The unknown signals grew stronger every second. Red dots filled the radar like spreading fireflies in the night. Each dot represented something powerful, something alien, something watching. The command room buzzed with panic. Engineers rushed from one station to another. Some whispered in fear, some tried to hide it. But everyone sensed the truth. The railgun shot had awakened eyes that had been sleeping in the darkness. Clara leaned closer to her console. Her voice shook. Commander, these signals, they're not random. They're coordinated. They're moving in formation. Rios narrowed his eyes. How many? She hesitated for a moment before answering. More than 20 fleets. The room fell silent again. 20 alien fleets responding at once meant only one thing. The test shot terrified the entire galaxy. Above Earth, the sky looked peaceful, but deep space was in chaos. Across thousands of light years, alien empires watched the footage of the shattered asteroid. They replayed the moment the human projectile hit, frame by frame, analyzing every detail. In one alien council hall, shaped like a dark sphere floating in the void, leaders sat around a glowing table. Their skin shimmered in strange colors, their eyes glowing with fear. The leader spoke with a deep, echoing voice. We underestimated the humans. Another alien, taller with sharp, angular limbs, answered. Their rise was too fast. This weapon breaks all predictions. A primitive world should not have such power. Should we stop them? A third one asked. No one responded, because they all knew something frightening. Humanity was no longer predictable. Back on Earth, Rios tried to stay calm even though his mind raced with possibilities. He placed both hands on the table and leaned forward. Clara, get me a full report on the projectile's trajectory. I want to know exactly how far it went. Clara typed quickly. Data filled the screen, numbers spinning like a storm. "Commander," she whispered. "Yes." The projectile didn't slow down. Rios blinked. "What do you mean?" It didn't lose speed, not even after leaving Earth's atmosphere. It traveled through space almost as if it was cutting through nothing. A scientist stepped closer. "Commander!" This should not be possible. Energy weapons always slowed down in space due to resistance, gravity fields, or magnetic interference. But this projectile ignored all of it. Rios finished softly. Clara nodded. It destroyed an asteroid almost instantly. The sensors could not even track the impact properly. This railgun shot wasn't just powerful, it was unnatural, beyond expected physics, beyond anything humans had imagined. Rios exhaled slowly, and the alien saw everything. He was right. In another part of the galaxy, a race known as the Varkos watched the event from their towering crystal headquarters. Their leader, covered in armor-like scales, slammed his fist onto the table. Impossible. Humans were supposed to stay weak for centuries. No one evolves as fast. A smaller Varkos, shaking with fear, replied, "Their weapon could tear through our cruisers with a single hit." The leader growled, "Then we must stop them before they grow stronger." But another alien leader spoke from a projection. "No, attacking now may be suicide. We know too little, and they obviously have more technology than we assumed." Arguments broke out across the galaxy, but every voice carried the same emotion: fear. Meanwhile, on Earth, Rios looked around the room. "Everyone calm down. We don't know if they're coming in peace or in anger." A young officer shouted from the corner, "Commander, one of the alien fleets just changed direction. They're heading toward the solar system." Clara's voice cracked. "How far?" "About 1 light-week away," the officer replied. "They're moving fast." Rios clenched his jaw. "Prepare defensive protocols. Notify the United Earth Council." Everyone rushed into action. The narrator's tone inside the room speakers suddenly came alive again. New data detected. Incoming transmission. Clara gasped, "Commander, the aliens are sending us a message." Rios felt his heart jump. "What type?" "A warning. Or maybe a question. It's hard to decode." Put on the main screen. Lines of alien symbols appeared. The screen flickered with strange patterns, glowing blue and white. Scientists rushed in to decipher it. One of them, an elderly linguist, adjusted his glasses. He leaned close. The message reads, "What was that weapon?" Everyone froze. Aliens were terrified enough to ask directly. Rios replied quietly, "Tell them it was a test." But before any message could be sent, the screen changed again. A new symbol appeared. A red one. Clara squinted. "What does that mean?" The linguist whispered. "It means they do not believe us." Outside on the ocean where the railgun base was built, waves crashed harder. The sky darkened with thick clouds, though it was supposed to be a clear day. Seagulls flew away, sensing something unnatural in the air. Earth felt small, too small. Inside the command room, the computers beeped faster. "Commander!" an officer shouted. "The alien fleet increased speed. They'll reach our system sooner than predicted." Clara turned pale. "Why are they rushing? Do they think we're preparing another shot?" Rios knew the answer. "They are afraid of us." That shot didn't just break an asteroid, it broke their expectations. A deep rumble echoed from the railgun chamber. Engineers ran to inspect it, thinking something had gone wrong. But the railgun was perfectly stable. It wasn't the weapon making the noise. It was the air itself. Something from space was sending waves through Earth's atmosphere, a sign that the alien fleet was using faster-than-light communication tech to scan Earth more aggressively. Clara covered her ears. "Commander, I can feel the vibrations." Rios stood tall. His eyes reflected the glowing screens. "The galaxy is reacting," he said. "And now we must decide how humanity answers." Before anyone could respond, the radar flashed bright red. A new object had just entered the solar system. Not a fleet, not a probe, something else. Bigger, stronger, Unidentified. Rio stepped closer to the radar, barely breathing. Clara, what is that? Clara's voice broke into a whisper. Commander, it's not a ship. Rios turned to her. Then what is it? She swallowed hard. It's a signal, a massive energy pulse heading toward Earth, like someone or something is returning our shot. And the room erupted in panic as the pulse moved closer, glowing brighter and brighter on the screen, starting exactly where the human projectile vanished. And now he was standing in front of truth that could destroy everything. Armin froze. His breath became slow, and his heart almost stopped. He kept staring at the old man's eyes, tried to understand what he had just heard. The room felt colder, and the silence was heavy, like the walls were also waiting for his next move. The old man stepped back, his face calm but serious. You must choose your side now, he said. Armin did not speak. His mind was running fast. Every memory of his childhood, every strange sign he had ignored, every dream he had seen, everything suddenly felt connected. But he still did not understand one thing. Why him? Before he could ask, the old man pointed toward the dark hallway. There is someone you must meet, someone who has been watching you for years. Armin felt a shiver down his spine. Watching me, why? He asked. The old man did not reply directly. You will know soon. But remember, not everyone who watches you is your enemy. Armin slowly walked toward the hallway. The air smelled like dust and old wood. A faint light flickered at the end, casting long shadows on the floor. His footsteps echoed, mixing with the sound of his fast heartbeat. When he reached the end of the hallway, he saw a door half open, and behind it, a soft light was moving like a candle flame. He pushed the door gently. Inside, a woman was sitting beside a table filled with old papers, maps, and strange symbols. She looked up the moment he entered. Her expression was calm, but her eyes carried something heavy. Pain, secrets, and recognition. You finally came, she said softly. Armin stepped back. Do I know you? She stood up slowly. You knew me once, before your memory changed. Armin felt a sharp sting inside his chest. What do you mean? My memory changed? How? Why? She took a deep breath. Sit. There's too much to explain in very little time. Armin sat down, though every part of him wanted to run or scream. The woman placed a file in front of him. It was old, tied with a gray ribbon. This file, she said, belongs to you. He opened it hesitantly. Inside were photos of him as a child, photos he had never seen before. In one picture, he was standing in front of a burning building. In another, he was holding a strange metallic object that looked like a broken key. And in one photo, one that made him gasp, he was standing between the old man and the woman, looking confident, almost powerful. What is this? Armin whispered. Who took these pictures? Where was I? Why don't I remember any of this? The woman looked at the floor. You don't remember because someone erased those memories from your mind. Not for your protection, but for control. A cold fear crawled through Armin's body. Control? Who would do that to me? At that exact moment, the door behind him shut loudly. Armin turned around instantly. The old man was standing there again, but now his expression was different. Harder, more urgent. They are coming, he said. We don't have much time. Armin stood up quickly. Who is coming? The old man shook his head. People who will stop at nothing to take you back. Armin felt his legs weaken. Take me back? I don't even know who I am. How can I go with anyone? The woman walked toward him, placing her hand gently on his shoulder. You are someone more important than you think, and that is why they fear you. Armin looked at both of them helplessly. What do they want from me? The old man answered in a low, tense voice. They want the key. Armin stared blankly. Key? What key? The woman walked to the table and picked up the metallic object from one of the photos. When she brought it closer, Armin realized she was holding the real version of it, not a picture. This, she said, is the key you once protected, the key only you can unlock, the key that can reveal the truth behind everything. Armin swallowed hard. And what truth is that? She held the key tighter. The truth about what happened to your family. The truth about the night you disappeared. The truth about why your memory was wiped. Armin's heart pounded like thunder. My family? What do you know about them? Before she could answer, a loud crash shook the entire house. The lights flickered. Dust fell from the ceiling. They found us, the old man said. We must move now. Armin's fear turned into confusion. Move where? I still don't understand anything. The woman grabbed his hand firmly. You'll understand, but not here. This place isn't safe. Armin felt pulled between fear, shock, and the urge to demand answers. But the ground shook again, this time harder. Something heavy slammed into the door from the outside. They're breaking in, the old man shouted. The woman pulled Armin toward a hidden passage behind a bookshelf. The old man lifted the metal bar, locking it. Hurry! Armin stepped inside the narrow passage. It was cold, dark, and smelled like earth. Before the woman entered, she turned to the old man. Protect the key. The old man nodded, but his eyes were full of fear. Armin whispered, What's happening? Who are these people? The woman replied as she pushed him forward. They are the ones who took your past. And if we don't escape, they will take your future too. A final crash exploded from the room, followed by heavy footsteps. Armin stumbled forward as the passage door slammed behind them. In the darkness, only one thought echoed in his mind. Why was his life important enough to erase? And what truth was the key hiding? Armin kept walking to the narrow, dark passage. His feet hit the uneven ground, and the cold air made his skin feel tight. He could hear faint echoes behind him, the sound of footsteps breaking wood and angry voices. Whoever those people were, they were getting closer. The woman walked ahead of him with confidence, as if she knew every corner of this hidden path. Don't stop, she said softly but firmly. We must reach the exit before they block it. Armin tried to calm himself, but his throat felt dry. Can you please tell me what is happening? I deserve to know. The woman slowed down, but didn't stop. You will know. But right now, staying alive is more important than understanding everything. Armin hated the answer, but he continued walking. After a few minutes, the passage opened into a larger underground room. The walls were covered in old carvings, symbols and shapes he had never seen before. A single lantern lit the space, hanging from a hook on the wall. Armin stared at the carvings. What are these? The woman looked at him with a serious expression. These symbols tell a story that you were once part of. Armin felt frustration rising. If I was part of it, why can't I remember anything? Before she could answer, a loud rumble shook the room. Dust fell from the ceiling. They're trying to break through the passage, the woman said. We have minutes, maybe less. She walked to the corner and pulled a heavy stone block. A secret door opened, revealing a metal box. She handed it to Armin. This contains your files. The real ones, not the fake documents they gave you after erasing your memory. Armin held the box carefully. Fake documents? So everything about my life, my school, my ID, my records, all fake. The woman nodded. They created a new identity for you, a safe identity, or so they claimed. Armin felt his heart sink. But why erase my memories? Was I dangerous? The woman met his eyes. You were not dangerous to the world, but you were dangerous to them because you knew the truth, and truth is the one thing they cannot control. Another rumble shook the cave. This time it was stronger. They're almost here, she said. We need to leave immediately. She pulled Armin toward a narrow staircase leading upward. The steps were old and cracked, but they climbed quickly. At the top was another door. She pushed it open, and bright sunlight burst inside. Armin blinked. They were now behind the old house, in a thick forest. Birds flew away as they stepped outside. The air was fresh, but Armin felt no relief. The woman closed the door behind them, locking it with a metal latch. We need to get to the safe house, she said. It's a long walk, but it's the only place where nobody can track us. Armin looked back at the old house. Smoke was now rising from one of the windows. What about the old man? He's still inside. She shook her head sadly. He knew the risk. His job was to protect you until this moment. He bought us time. Armin felt pain in his chest. He helped me, and now he... We don't have time, she interrupted. They started running through the forest. Branches scratched Armin's arms, and the ground was uneven, but they kept moving. After some time, Armin finally spoke again, trying to control his breathing. Tell me something, anything. Who am I? Who are my parents? The woman stopped suddenly. She turned to him with a heavy expression. You were born into a family that protected secrets. Secrets that powerful people wanted to destroy. Armin swallowed hard. My family, are they alive? The woman hesitated. They disappeared the night you vanished. Nobody knows for sure what happened to them. Armin felt weak. So I might be the only one left? She touched his shoulder gently. You are not alone. There are people still loyal to you. People who believe you are the one who can finish what your family started. Armin frowned. What did my family start? She took a deep breath. They discovered something. Something that could expose the people who control everything. Government, corporations, secret networks, everything. Armin's eyes widened. And the key? What does it open? The key, she said slowly, opens a vault. A vault that contains the evidence your family gathered. If that evidence goes public, everything changes. Armin felt a cold chill. So they erased my memory, so I couldn't reveal anything? She nodded. Yes, and because you were the only one who knew the vault's true location. Another distant explosion echoed behind them, from the direction of the house. They found the underground room, the woman said. We must hurry. They continued running. After half an hour, they reached a small abandoned cabin deep in the forest. The woman pushed open the door. Inside was a table, 2 chairs, and old equipment covered in dust. This is a safe house, she said. Armin dropped the metal box on the table and collapsed into a chair. I can't believe my whole life was a lie. The woman sat across from him. Not a lie. A cover. A temporary identity. Armin rubbed his forehead. But what am I supposed to do now? I don't know how to fight. I don't know how to unlock any vault. I don't even know who to trust. She leaned closer. You don't need to remember everything. Some memories come back slowly, and some truths are hidden inside you, waiting to wake up. Armin looked at the metal box. Can I open it? Yes, she said, but prepare yourself. The truth is not easy. Armin untied the ribbon and opened the box. Inside were letters, old maps, a burnt photograph of a man and woman who looked like his parents, a blood-stained notebook, and a small black device with a blinking red light. What is this device? Armin asked. The woman's face went pale. That is not supposed to be inside the box. Armin looked up. What do you mean? She stood quickly, panic rising in her eyes. That device is a tracker. They planted it. They know where we are. Armin felt the air leave his lungs. Then we're not safe here? She shook her head. No, they're coming for us now. Armin stood, fear gripping him again. What do we do? The woman grabbed his hand and whispered. We run again, but this time we don't just run. We fight back. We run again, but this time we don't just run. We fight back. Armin felt his legs freeze for a moment. His mind raced. Fight back? Against who? Against what kind of people? But the woman didn't wait. She moved fast, grabbing the metal box, stuffing the papers and photographs back inside, and pulling Armin toward the back door of the cabin. We don't have much time, she said. The tracker means they could be only minutes away. Armin followed her into the trees. The forest was getting darker. Clouds rolled across the sky, blocking the evening sun. The air grew cold and heavy, like nature itself knew danger was close. Armin kept asking himself the same question again and again. Why me? Why is everyone hunting me? What secret did my family die for? His heart thumped loudly in his chest. They reached a narrow stream. The woman knelt down and placed the tracker device carefully in the water. The current carried it away. This will buy us a little time, she said. They'll follow the wrong direction for a while. Armin felt some relief, but it didn't last long. Where are we going now? To the ridge, she said, pointing toward a tall, steep hill in the distance. There's an old bunker at the top. It belonged to your family. We can hide there for the night. Armin stared at the ridge. It looked far. Too far. Can we make it before they find us? He asked. We have to, she replied. Every minute counts. They walked quickly, almost running. Branches cracked under their shoes. Leaves rustled around them. The woman kept checking behind them, her eyes sharp and alert. Armin looked at her closely for the first time. She moved like someone with training, military, or maybe something even more secret. Her steps were silent, her breathing controlled. Every time she heard a sound, even a faint one, she stopped and listened. Who is she really? Why is she risking her life for me? Armin decided to ask. You never told me your name. The woman didn't look at him at first, but after a few seconds, she spoke. My name is Mira. Armin repeated it softly. Mira, were you close to my family? Yes, she said. I knew them very well. I knew you too. You were only 15 when everything happened. Armin felt a strange tightness in his chest. Did you know what happened to my memory? Mira nodded slowly. I was there the night they took your memories. I fought to stop them, but I failed. Armin swallowed hard. So you've been trying to protect me ever since? She looked at him, her eyes soft but full of guilt. Yes, that is why the old man took care of you. I trusted him with your safety. I hoped you would grow far away from danger, but they found you again. Armin didn't know what to say. Part of him was grateful. Another part was angry. Angry that so many people made decisions about his life without him. He kept walking. After an hour, they reached the bottom of the ridge. The slope was steep and rocky. Armin's leg were tired, but Mira kept pushing. We're almost there, she said. Just a little more. They climbed, step by step. Halfway up, Armin heard something, distant engines, multiple vehicles. Mira, he whispered urgently. They're coming. Mira listened carefully. They must have realized the tracker was a trick. We need to move faster. They climbed quicker, almost scrambling up the rocks. At the top of the ridge was a large, round metal door built into the mountainside. Moss covered most of it. It looked old, abandoned, but strong. Mira pulled a small tool from her pocket and pressed it against the lock. The door beeped softly, then clicked open. Hurry, she said. They slipped inside. Mira shut the thick metal door behind them. Darkness surrounded them. A moment later, Mira pressed a switch. Dim yellow lights flickered on, revealing a long underground bunker. Dust covered everything. Old machines, metal tables, crates, and shelves filled with rusted equipment. Armin stepped forward slowly. This was my family's? Yes, Mira said. Your parents built this bunker when they discovered the secret. They knew a day would come when the truth would be hunted. Armin looked around. Everything felt familiar, but he couldn't explain why. A strange warmth moved through his chest. Mira walked to a large metal drawer and pulled it open. Inside were old documents sealed in plastic bags. These files, she said, are pieces of the truth, pieces of what your family found. Armin took a step closer. Can I see? Mira hesitated. Not yet. First, we need to secure the bunker. She walked toward the main control panel. Armin noticed the dust on it. Mira wiped it off and pressed a few buttons. The lights brightened and a deep vibration shook the floor. The bunker was locking itself down. Mira checked the screens. Good. They won't be able to break in easily. Armin felt a bit safer, but his heart still raced. They're still coming, aren't they? Yes, Mira said, and they won't leave until they find you. Armin sat on an old metal chair. This is madness. My whole life is chaos now. Mira looked at him gently. It was always going to happen. The second your memories began to return, they knew they had to stop you. Armin froze. My memories, what do you mean? Mira took a deep breath. You saw the visions in the mirror. Those flashes. They were not random. They were pieces of your past coming back. Armin's eyes widened. So, I really knew something important. Mira nodded. Yes, you knew the vault's true location. The evidence your family gathered. The final proof that can destroy the people who control everything. Armin rubbed his forehead. but I still don't remember any location. Mira looked at him with hope. You will, and we need you to remember soon, because without that vault, we have nothing. Suddenly, a loud thud hit the bunker door. Then another, and another. Armin jumped to his feet. They're already here. Mira grabbed his arm. Listen to me, she said urgently. I need you to stay calm. You're the key to everything. They can break the door, but they cannot break the truth inside you. The thuds grew louder. Metal groaned. Voices echoed outside. Armin felt fear grip his whole body. Mira, what do we do now? Mira stepped forward, her eyes fierce. We make our stand. But first, she turned to him with a look that sent chills through his blood. Armin, there's something I need to tell you. Something I should have said long ago. And before she could speak, the bunker door bent inward with a violent crash. Metal screamed as another hit slammed into it. Bolts snapped. Dust fell from the ceiling. Armin stepped back, fear tightening every muscle in his body. Mira, they're breaking through, he shouted. I know, she said, grabbing something from a metal shelf. It looked like a small black cylinder with a red button. This will slow them down, but only for a few minutes. Armin watched her place the cylinder near the door, her hands steady despite the noise. You said there was something you needed to tell me. Armin said urgently, Tell me now. Mira stopped, looked at her with eyes full of emotion, fear, guilt, and something else. Armin, your father trusted me more than anyone, she whispered. He gave me a message for you, a message I never delivered until now. Armin's heart hammered in his chest. What message? Before she could answer, boom! The bunker door dented deeply, shaking the whole room. Mira pressed the red button. The small device blinked 3 times. Crack! A bright flash exploded from the cylinder, sending a wave of white smoke through the entrance chamber. Outside, voices screamed in confusion. That's our window, Mira said. They'll think we activated a bomb. We have 2 minutes. Armin grabbed the metal box from the table. Where do we go? There's no exit except the main door. There is another exit, Mira said. Your father built it, but only you can open it. Armin froze. Only me? How? Mira grabbed his hand and pulled him toward the back of the bunker. They ran past shelves of old tools and dusty machines until they reached a wall of steel panels. This, she said, is the vault door's activation panel. Armin stared at it. The panel had no buttons, no lock, just a circular glass screen. He frowned. How am I supposed to open it? Mira placed his hand on the glass. Your father encoded the vault with your DNA, she said. Only your touch can unlock the passage. Armin felt his heartbeat shake inside him. Why would he do that? Myra's voice softened. Because he knew the world would try to erase you, but he believed your blood would stay true. Armin didn't fully understand it, but he felt something inside him, something old, something buried, respond. He pressed his fingers against the glass. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, beep, beep, beep. The screen glowed bright blue. Lines of symbols appeared, symbols he somehow recognized, though he didn't know why. Suddenly, the steel wall shook and split open, revealing a narrow passage. Go! Mira shouted. Before they recover, Armin stepped inside. Mira followed. Sealing the door behind them, darkness swallowed them. Tiny lights flickered on overhead, lighting a stone path that spiraled downward. The air was cold, still, silent. Armin walked slowly. Mira, what was the message? You never told me. Mira took a deep breath. Your father's message was simple, she said. He said, if Armin ever returns to the vault, tell him he already knows everything he needs. He just has to trust himself. Armin felt confusion, fear, and something stronger, determination. They kept walking until the path opened into a massive underground chamber. Armin gasped. In front of them stood a giant metal vault, shaped like a hemisphere, covered in glowing blue symbols. The same symbols from the bunker wall, the same ones he saw in his mirror visions. Mira spoke quietly. This is the truth your family died for. What's inside this vault can destroy the people who control the world. Armin stepped forward, feeling the weight of destiny pressing down on him. How do we open it? He asked. Mira pointed to a pedestal. Place the key there. Armin pulled the small silver key from his pocket. It vibrated slightly in his hand, as if it recognized a vault. He placed it on the pedestal. Home! A low hum filled the chamber, the vault glowing brighter and brighter until the entire room shook. Armin stepped back, shielding his eyes. Mira, what's happening? The vault is scanning you, she shouted over the noise. It's checking your identity. The glowing symbols expanded, then wrapped around Armin like floating light. His heartbeat thrashed in his chest. Then, flash! Everything went still. The vault door hissed open. Inside was not gold, not weapons, not documents. It was a hologram, a recorded message from Armin's father. Armin froze. He didn't breathe. He didn't blink. Tears blurred his vision. His father appeared, tall, sharp-eyed, serious, yet kind. Armin, the hologram said, if you are seeing this, it means you survived and the world still needs you. Armin's hands trembled. Mira stood silently behind him. You were chosen not because of what you remembered, his father continued, but because of who you truly are. Inside this vault is the proof of corruption that will topple the most powerful syndicate in the galaxy. But that truth is dangerous. The hologram leaned closer, as if looking directly into Armin's soul. Armin, listen carefully. You must trust no one, not governments, not organizations, not even Mira. Armin's heart stopped. He turned slowly toward Mira. She froze, eyes wide. Unless she chooses the truth over her orders, the hologram finished. Armin stared at her, betrayal tightening inside him. Orders, he whispered. What orders? Myra's voice trembled. Armin, I was sent to bring you to them, to deliver you. But I changed. I couldn't let them destroy you again. I chose you instead of them. Armin's emotions twisted inside him. Fear, anger, pain. Before he could reply, boom! The hidden passage behind them exploded open. The enemy forces poured into the chamber. Mira grabbed Armin's arm. Armin, we have to leave now. Take the truth with you. Armin grabbed the data capsule from inside the vault. It held the evidence his family fought to protect. Mira pulled him toward another exit tunnel. But then, a masked soldier aimed a blaster straight at Myra's chest. Armin's eyes widened in horror. Mira! She pushed Armin aside. Bang! She fell. Armin screamed. The chamber shook with chaos. Soldiers rushed in. Lights flickered. The hologram vanished. Armin knelt beside Mira, holding her as tears filled his eyes. Her voice was weak. Armin, you were never meant to run forever. You were meant to finish the mission. Armin shook his head, crying, Mira, stay with me, please. She smiled softly. You're remembering. I can see it. Your father would be proud. Her eyes closed. Mira, Mira. Armin cried, but she didn't move. Rage filled him. Pain burned into his bones. He stood slowly, gripping the data capsule. Soldiers surrounded him. But Armin was no longer the confused boy from a village. He was the last heir of a family who protected the truth. The leader shouted, Capture him. Armin looked up with cold, burning eyes. No, he whispered. You will never control me again. And then, Armin pressed a button on the capsule. A blinding shockwave of light erupted, sweeping through the chamber. Soldiers screamed. Machines exploded. The chamber collapsed in thunder. Armin vanished into the light, taking the truth with him, and beginning a war the galaxy would never forget. Armin vanished into the light, taking the truth with him, and beginning a war the galaxy would never forget. But the story did not end there. The world believed Armin died in the explosion. News spread like wildfire. Secret agencies claimed victory. Their report said, Target eliminated. But they were wrong, very wrong. When the blinding light consumed the chamber, Armin felt his body pulled through something strange. It wasn't fire. It wasn't pain. It felt like falling through memories, his memories. Flashes hit him one after another. His father smiling. Mira teaching him how to hold a tool. A hidden room with maps. A symbol carved into a metal wall, glowing blue. A distant world he had never seen, but somehow recognized. Then the light faded. Armin crashed onto a hard metal floor. He groaned, opened his eyes slowly, and gasped. He was inside a huge underground hangar, far away from the collapsing bunker. The air smelled fresh, cool, and clean. Machines hummed around him. Blue lights flickered on the walls. Armin pushed himself up. Where am I? His hand still held the data capsule tightly. He stood slowly, looking around. Massive doors sealed the hangar. A single ship stood in the center, a sleek black craft with silver markings, like something ancient yet advanced. Armin felt a strange warmth in his chest, like he had been here before. Suddenly, a soft female voice echoed from hidden speakers. Welcome back, Armin. It has been 12 years. Armin froze. His skin tingled. Who said that? He asked. A hologram appeared, blue light forming the shape of a woman in armor. Her face looked calm, wise, and slightly familiar. I am Alara, she said, your family's AI guardian. I was programmed to wake only when you activated the vault. Armin stared in disbelief. You know me? Alara nodded. I raised you for the first 15 years of your life. Before they took you, Armin felt his heart twist. You raised me? Yes, Alara said gently. Your parents trusted me with your training. You learned strategy, technology, and survival here. This hangar was your home once. Armin looked around slowly. It feels familiar, like a dream I can't completely remember. That is why your father said you already know everything you need, Alara replied. Your memories are still inside you, hidden, but they are returning. Armin swallowed hard. Why am I here? How did I survive the explosion? Alara pointed to the data capsule. You activated the failsafe. It teleported you to the emergency hangar your father built. He wanted to ensure you lived long enough to finish the mission. Armin's chest tightened. Myra's face flashed in his mind. Her sacrifice. Her last words. He whispered, Mira, she died because of me. Alara shook her head softly. She died protecting the future you carry. Her choice was her honor. Armin clenched his fists. I won't let her sacrifice be wasted. I'll finish what my family started. Alara stepped closer. You will not be alone this time. Armin frowned. What do you mean? Alara raised her hand. The lights in the hangar brightened, revealing 3 figures standing in the shadows. They stepped forward. Armin's eyes widened in shock. The first was a tall man with scars. The second was a woman with white hair and cybernetic eyes. The third was a teenager holding advanced tools. Alara spoke. These are the last members of the Free Oracles, the secret group your family led. They survived the purge. They have been in hiding, waiting for you. The man bowed slightly. Armin, we have waited many years to see the heir return. The white-haired woman smiled. Your father's fight is now your fight. The teenager looked nervous, but excited. You're like a legend to us. We'll follow you anywhere. Armin stepped back, overwhelmed. Wait, I'm not a leader. I'm not even sure who I am yet. Alara answered. You were trained to lead. You just forgot. The world erased your memories, but not your potential. Armin felt his heart racing. Why me? Why does everyone believe I can stop the syndicate? Alara's expression softened. Because you're the only one who possesses the full access to the truth capsule, the only one whose DNA can unlock the intel, and the only one the syndicate fears. Armin looked at the capsule in his hand. It pulsed with faint red light. What's inside? He asked. Alara paused before answering. The crimes of the syndicate, their experiments, their assassinations, their centuries-long control over governments, evidence powerful enough to collapse their entire empire. Armin's hand shook. And they'll kill anyone who tries to expose them. Yes, Alara said. They already killed many, including your parents. Armin felt a fire ignite inside him. Hot, fierce, unstoppable. He took a deep breath. Then we start now. The man with scars stepped forward. There is something else. Something urgent. Armin looked at him. The blast in the bunker didn't kill them, the man said. The enemy commander survived, and he gave a new order. Armin's voice hardened. What order? The man replied. Find Armin alive, capture him, and erase him again. Armin's blood turned cold. They're coming here? He asked. Ilera nodded. Not yet. This hangar is hidden, but they will find it eventually. You must move before then. Armin tightened his grip on the capsule. Where do we go? Ilera pointed to the black ship. That ship is called the Luminostar. Your father built it for this mission, and it will take you to the place your memories began. Armin felt his breath catch. Where is that? Ilera responded with 3 words. The origin site. Armin felt a chill. He didn't know why. But those words made something inside him awaken. A memory. A voice. A place covered in shadows. He whispered, I remember something. A cliff. A storm. Someone screaming my name. Ilera nodded. Yes, your past lies there. And so does a final key. Armin looked at the ship. The free oracle stood behind him. Myra's memory burned in his heart. His father's voice echoed in his mind. He stepped toward the ship with determination. Then let's finish this. For Mira, for my family, for the truth. Ilera smiled. As you command, Armin. The hangar doors began to open. Wind rushed in. The ship powered up. Lights glowed blue. Armin stood at the ramp, looking into the dark horizon. The war had begun, and he was ready. The chamber shook again as a hidden door fully opened, revealing a dark corridor stretching far below the facility. Lyra stepped back, her heart racing. Commander Rex held up his rifle, scanning the shadows while Dr. Hale checked his scanner. The team stared into the deep hallway. A cold wind blew from inside, carrying a faint metallic smell, almost like ancient machines breathing after a long sleep. Rex whispered, Everyone stay sharp. There is something awake in there. Lyra nodded. Her voice was low. This is the place the alien mentioned. The one he said humans should never touch. Dr. Hale checked the readings again. Energy levels increasing. This corridor leads to the core. And whatever is inside, it's active. The corridor lights flickered on by themselves. One by one, soft blue lines glowed on the walls, forming patterns none of them recognized. Lyra whispered, It knows we're coming. Rex stepped forward. Then let it watch. We're going in. The descent begins. As they walked deeper, the walls felt warmer, almost pulsing like a heartbeat. The farther they went, the more symbols appeared, twisting, shifting, glowing. Dr. Hale stopped suddenly. These symbols, they're reacting to us, not the environment. Us. Lyra frowned. You mean they're alive? In a way, Hale replied. They're reading our biosignatures. Every step we take is recorded. Rex looked back, then moved quietly. If this place can think, it can attack. They walked for nearly 10 minutes until they reached another doorway. Massive, circular, covered in ancient patterns. But there was something else. A faint humming sound, like something huge was charging. Lyra pressed her hand to the door. It's vibrating. Something inside is moving. Dr. Hale lifted his scanner. His eyes widened. No, something below us. 3 life forms. Very large. And mechanical. Rex raised his weapon. Guardians. The Guardians wake. The floor trembled. Dust fell from the ceiling. A deep metallic growl echoed through the corridor. Lyra backed up. Rex, do you hear that? Before he could answer, the door split open and 3 towering figures stepped out, shaped like armored giants, their bodies made of obsidian metal and glowing energy lines. Their eyes burned with a cold, unnatural blue light. Dr. Hale whispered in terror. These are ancient defense units, older than human civilization. The first Guardian raised an arm. A sphere of light formed at its palm, charging rapidly. Rex shouted, Down! The blast shot forward like lightning. The team dove aside as the beam ripped through the wall, melting stone like butter. Lyra rolled behind a fallen pillar. We can't fight these things. Rex fired his rifle, but the shots bounced off harmlessly. Dr. Hale looked panicked. Their armor is made of void steel. Nothing human can break it. The second Guardian stepped closer. Each step made the ground tremble. Lyra's mind raced. There has to be a weakness, something. She glanced at the glowing lines on the walls. They were bright, too bright. Hale, the symbols. They're connected to the Guardians. He looked. You're right. These machines absorb energy from the walls. That's why they are active. Rex shouted, Then how do we shut it off? Hale typed quickly on his scanner. I can overload the energy flow, but it will shut off the entire chamber, and maybe collapse the corridor. Rex grinned. Do it. The overload. Dr. Hale connected his scanner to a glowing symbol. The lights flickered violently. The Guardians sensed it immediately. All three turned their glowing eyes toward Hale. Lyra screamed, Hale, hurry! The first Guardian charged his blast again, aimed directly at Hale's chest. Rex ran forward, pushing Hale aside just as the beam fired. The blast hit the ground, exploding in a blinding flash. Hale rolled across the floor. Almost. Lyra threw a metal shard at a Guardian. It didn't harm it, but it distracted it for a second. Rex fired again and again, shouting, Come on! Look at me! The Guardian turned toward him with slow, terrifying precision. Hale pressed the final command. Boom! The entire corridor went dark. The wall symbols shut off. The glow inside the Guardians flickered violently. And then, the Guardians stopped moving. Rex breathed hard. They're offline. Lyra touched one. It didn't respond. We did it. We actually. But then she froze. The floor beneath them cracked. Hale screamed. The overload destabilized the entire structure. Run. The collapse. They sprinted down the corridor as the ceiling fell behind them. Debris crashed, sparks flew, and the entire passage shook like an earthquake. Lyra stumbled. Rex grabbed her arm and pulled her forward. Hale shouted, The exit is close. Keep moving. The ground opened in huge cracks. Blue energy leaked out from below, like the facility itself was bleeding. A massive chunk of ceiling fell toward Lyra. Rex lunged, pushing her aside. The stone crashed between them. Dust exploded everywhere. Lyra coughed. Rex, where are you? No answer. She looked through the dust and saw the crack widening between them. Rex was on the other side. Hale screamed, Lyra, the corridor will fall any second. Jump. Lyra tried to jump, but the ground broke again and pulled her back. Rex shouted, Elware, run forward. Don't stop. She ran, tears in her eyes, trusting Rex's voice. Hale grabbed her hand and pulled her through the last doorway just as the entire corridor collapsed behind them with a deafening roar. Silence after the storm. Everything settled. Dust filled the air. Lyra dropped to her knees, breathing heavily. Her heart felt like it was tearing apart. Rex is trapped. Hale put a hand on her shoulder. He might still be alive. The debris fell behind him, not on him. Lyra wiped her face. We have to find another way around. The core, the secret, everything is still ahead. Hale nodded, and Rex will find us. He always does. Lyra stood slowly, determination returning to her eyes. Then we keep going. Whatever is inside this facility, we're not turning back now. And with that, the two of them walked deeper into the unknown darkness, not knowing that someone was watching them from the shadows.